Welcome to The Little White Lie with Caren Glasser. The Little White Lie is all about the lies we tell ourselves about getting old and how to love the age you are in. Join Caren and her guests as they share their stories, expertise, tools, and tips on how we can all embrace our authentic self and say yes to embracing our little white lie. Hello everyone, Caren Glasser here, and welcome to the show. We've got a really great one today. We're going to be talking about happiness with a Y. But we're going to do our housekeeping right now. So as I always say, if you're here on replay, we're thrilled that you're here on replay. Make sure you comment below because we will go in and we will respond and keep that conversation going. And next off, as I do every single show, it's the reveal. So I'm just going to knock my head down for a second. Yes, it's growing. And a shameless plug, if you would please share the show out at the bottom of your screen, click that little share button, and let's bring lots and lots of people into the show. So today we're asking the question, how can I make happiness my go-to everyday state of being? How can we make happiness our everyday state of being? My guest today is Mark Jaffe. He's a former senior executive at the Walt Disney Company, where he spent many, many years creating happy moments. At a young age, he realized that his happiest life was not something out of reach. He studied, observed, cultivated, and ultimately enjoyed an enduring happiness through a singular focus on identifying what works and what doesn't. So without further ado, I'm going to bring my special guest in. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing great, Caren. I'm thrilled to be here with you.
Well, I am just absolutely delighted. We go way back. We go way, way back. Back in we were trying to figure out the time just as we were going live, probably the late 80s, early 90s, when I ended up on the Disney Channel, 5-year anniversary of the Disney Channel, the Music Box series, and that's when we actually connected, right?
It's true. I was running Walt Disney Records back then, and I signed your brother Craig to a recording contract. And wow, what a great, wonderful moment that was for all of us.
I know, absolutely. So I'm just delighted that we have reconnected. I have a question to ask you first. What is your little white lie?
Well, I have to say my little white lie because this is who I am, I just turned it around, is that I just think it's not getting any better. I just think I'm continually on this slow but steady decline. So the way that I've used that is to realize that every moment I have is precious, that time is the most valuable of all my possessions. And if I don't enjoy it today, I may not have a chance to enjoy it tomorrow. So I really try to squeeze every moment I can for its full potential to give me joy and happiness and fulfillment.
What a great response. I mean, and it's perfect for you because you are the happiness guy. In fact, you have a really great book that's out there, very, very popular, doing very, very well. It's called The Suitcase of Happiness. And guys, I went ahead and put a link down in there if you want to go pick it up. It's a great book. And I love that you use the Y in there, a happiness rather than I. You want to give us a reason for that?
Yeah, well, you know what? We talk about happiness and everybody says happiness is so fleeting. Why can't I have more moments of happiness? And the truth is, I believe happiness is a go-to state, that you could actually have a state of being that is happy. Now, granted, of course, there are moments of unhappiness. There's tragedies. We've all had them in our lives. But I believe that we could look forward and we could look back and say we are genuinely happy people.
So do you think that we can all be happy? Is that really what you're saying? We can all at some point be happy?
Oh, absolutely. I believe what you focus on, you find. You know, I was traveling in the Oregon coast with my best friend, and we were on this little adventure. And if any of you have lived in cold climates, you know that when all of a sudden the coldness goes away, or if you live in rainy climates, the raininess goes away, all of a sudden everybody's out on the streets and the hormones are flying and there's electricity. And on one day when it was beautiful, bright, warm, sunny day in Oregon, my friend and I are walking down the street and I noticed these two beautiful women. And as they passed, I said to him, "Did you see that?" And he said, "Yes. And I've noticed that the corrosive weather has not affected them at all." That's an odd statement. And so he goes, "I'm going in for a closer look." And I said, "No, you're not."
No, you're not.
I'm about to restrain him. And I realize he's not walking towards the girls. he's walking towards houses on the beach
Oh, wow.
because he was building a house and he was concerned with the shingles on the house and how they survive the corrosive salt air. And
Wow.
it was, to this day, I don't understand how we could have walked down the same road. I saw beautiful girls and he saw shingles on a house. And he hates when I tell that story, but it's true.
And wouldn't and that's kind of in alignment with being happy, right? Happiness means different things to different people.
Right. And what you focus on, you find. And so if you're focused on your day in creating happy moments and seeing happy moments, you will find them. I mean, I believe that there are happy moments all around us. And if we're not looking for them, we'll never see them. I never saw the shingles on the house, but they were right there. They were just not in my line of sight.
So if somebody wants to start on this journey to happiness, other than going to buy your book, which I'm going to encourage people to do, how do people get started? What would be a first thing to start to find happiness? Or is that kind of a silly question? I don't know.
No, it's actually an easy question. I mean, there's all sorts of theory. Everybody has theories. I think the simplest, easiest way to find happiness is to try to say yes more often. I mean, how many times are we too cold, we're too tired, we're too hot, we're too hungry, we're whatever, and we have these opportunities to say yes and we choose not to. I mean, the simplest thing is how many times have you unexpectedly gone down a different way back from work or from home and you discovered a cute bakery or you saw kids playing in the park and it brought a smile to your face. So say yes to something different. Say yes to your partner more often. You don't know the happiness that will be on the other side of that word yes.
I love that. So we have a question. Let's see here. Well, actually, the wrong question. Would you say that happiness begins with gratitude? What do you think about that?
Oh, yes. I mean, gratitude is such a powerful part of happiness. I mean, you know, in the roots of happiness is gratitude for that happiness. And the more grateful you are for what you have, the more you realize that you have. And I agree with that person 100%. I mean, oftentimes I look back at when I was younger and we would go hiking a lot as a family and my mom would all of a sudden stop us on the trail and she'd say, Mark, bottle it, which was bottle that moment, bottle the smell of the pine trees, bottle the vista over that next ridge. And when you stop and you bottle it, which was her version of gratitude, it crystallizes. And every time something happens and you stop and you express gratitude for being in this moment, at this time, in this place, that memory crystallizes and it's something you could always go back to and smile.
I'm really relating to that. But you know, what's interesting is the whole thing with happiness is that, as you said, you can choose to be happy or you can choose not to be happy. And whatever our mindset is what will show up in front of us. But that's sometimes really, really hard, especially if you are facing life challenges or lost a job or family things. So is there a way that we can just give a tip out there right now, like an actual exercise maybe, that can get people to get out of the negative and into the positive?
Yeah, you know, I had a very tragic event happen in my life that was so hard for me to get past. And somebody taught me the power of acceptance. And oftentimes when we have limitations, which as we get older, we all develop more limitations, by accepting those limitations, we give ourselves permission to be happy with what is not limited. I mean, you know, God forbid we were to lose our sight or our hearing. It's hard to imagine how we could be happy without sight. But there are millions of people who don't have sight who are incredibly happy. How is that possible? It's possible because they've accepted the limitation that we have and they've embraced those things that are not limited. And it's easier said than done. I mean, it took me months to get past this tragedy. But once I did, I realized that that was the first step in giving myself permission to be happy again.
And I guess it's all perspective, right? I mean, when you have a tragedy like that, you start counting your blessings, right? And you start realizing what you do have and try to stay focused on that and absolutely. So I have a question for you. It just actually popped into my head because I think of Disney and Disneyland being the happiest place on earth. Do
Hmm.
you think that somehow you gravitated to Disney for that reason because you've been on this happiness journey for longer even than you
Wow.
think?
Wow, that is a fantastic question. I think, you know what, I think consciously and subconsciously what we focus on, we find, and it's probably no accident
Hmm.
that the first half of my career was dedicated to children and to the happiness of children. And while I didn't intentionally do that in a conscious way, I would not be surprised if subconsciously I did.
And here you are now. You're not with Disney anymore. You've written your book. Tell us a little bit about what your journey looks like now that you've left the happiest place on earth.
Well, my journey now is actually doing the same thing. I mean, when you think about legacy, and I believe the search for meaning is one of the pathways to
Hmm.
happiness. It's actually one of the ones that I've listed in the book. And part of what people search for when they search for meaning, particularly at our age, is what is our legacy? And
Right.
my belief is that our legacy is not that we got our name inscribed on a building. I mean, I went to UCLA, and I still don't know who any of those people who were inscribed on the residence
Right.
halls were. But I believe our legacy are the people that we touch and those that they touch in turn who are in some way affected by the impact we had. And so our impact outlives our name. It
Right.
outlives even the things that we did in the people that follow us who were affected by the things that we did. And to me, what an amazing legacy to know that you've touched someone who then fathered or mothered hundreds of people and generations of people who were then affected by what you did for, the first person in that stream.
I love that. And so, guys, what we're saying is it doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are. You can be happy. You can find happiness. You can work at it because anything worthwhile is worth the effort putting into it. And Mark's here to tell you all about it. Check out, I'm going to go ahead and put another comment out. Love how you share what I call she calls it the ripple effect. Thanks, Nancy. So true. So true. So if you would like to follow Mark, I'm going to put up his Twitter handle, Mark Jaffe. You can find him on there and tweet him. Why not tweet him? I'm sure he will respond.
Oh, I respond to everyone.
There you go. And check out the book also and let him know what you think about the book. Any last thoughts of that you'd like to share about happiness and the journey?
Well, first of all, the book, you could also find out more information at suitcaseofhappiness.com. That's where you'd find the book. But I would encourage you to think about all the different pathways with which you could get happy. And I'll mention one more that's just the simplest one. And that's what it is, the magic of simplicity. Just this morning, we were talking about the weather. It's hot everywhere in the country except in Santa Monica, California, where it's overcast and 65.
Right.
But what a joy it was this morning when I woke up with my window open and a cool breeze literally bathed my face. It was
Mm-hmm.
such a simple, nothing moment, and yet it framed my entire day. And how often do we let those little moments that just happen to us all the time just go away and we don't appreciate them? I mean, right now, look out your window. It's
Yeah.
probably amazing. There's
Yeah.
something interesting out there. Appreciate the texture of your floor the next time you go home and walk barefoot. I mean, there's so many little things you could do to engage your senses and appreciate the present moment in which you're sitting.
Oh, Mark, thank you so much. Such wise words for our viewers. And we want to ask our viewers, here's the question for you, and go ahead and post it in the comments. We'll go back and read them later on. How can you make happiness your go-to everyday state of being? April already has one. Embrace the simple moments. Thank you,
Yes.
April. Thank you so much, April. Hey guys, you know what? Go and check out the site, thelittlewhitelie.com. All of these shows are there, and in addition to all the blog posts that go along with the show, a lot of great stuff that you can get involved in the conversation. Comment often, and when you go out and comment, make sure you use the hashtag #LittleWhiteLie so that we can find you. We know that you have a choice as to how to spend your time. Mark and I want to thank you for spending it with us. We appreciate it. Go out and give somebody an awesome day, and we will see you next time on the next edition of The Little White Lie. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.